Comic book characters you may or may not know about. This is the Bride or Lady Frankenstein. If you've never really read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, that's basically where her origin story comes from, in literary terms. So in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, she was created as a companion of Frankenstein's monster, generally referred to as Frankenstein, but she didn't want to be his companion, and she wanted to be with someone who was actually alive. But in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, she actually ended up dying. When she gets transferred over into comic books, she is very much alive, headstrong, and pretty badass. And she is more alive than her counterpart. Now, on Prime Earth, in DC Comics, she is portrayed in a loving relationship with Frankenstein, who they both want to have a child, so they use Shade's technology to create one. They are actually both part of a subgroup within Shade called the Creature Commandos. Now, when they create their son with the Shade technology, he actually turns out super unstable and violent, attacks his mother, forcing his father to kill him. However, despite her son attacking her, she was pissed off at Frankenstein and would not forgive his actions, because what she saw was that he was completely terrified of the situation and not knowing exactly what was going on. Following an uprising within Shade, Father Time revealed that their son was actually alive and in Shade custody without their knowledge. They ended up tracking their son to the place of their birth, which was Castle Frankenstein, and they tried to reason with him. Unfortunately, he attacked them and begged only for death. And in a kind of sad irony, Lady Frankenstein is what granted him his final wish. Through all of the manipulation and everything through Shade, she decided to leave the organization because she did not want to be used anymore, especially when it came to the information contained about her son. The Bride's history on New Earth is a little bit different. She is an agent of Shade with the Creature Commandos, and her alias is Lady Frankenstein. However, she does not want to be a companion of Frankenstein. Now, her history or her origin is still pretty simple. She was created as a companion to Frankenstein. She rejected him because she wanted somebody more alive. And when he died out in the Arctic, at the end of Mary Shelley's novel, she wandered to Earth. Now, in the 21st century, she was brainwashed by a supervillain named Red Swampy. He gave her 2 extra arms and tried to pass her off as the assassin goddess Kali, as her reincarnation. Now, it took 7 Shade agents to take her down, and then she afterwards joined the organization. She fought alongside Frankenstein at one point. Frankenstein showed up in Salvation Valley to fight a wet form AI. She showed up and assisted him, and afterwards he ended up joining Shade. It turns out that the entire town had been terminally infected by the wet form AI, which was a deliberate sabotage by a former Shade agent named Pilot Ziggy. But because Shade did not want to lose a $3 billion agent, Lady Frankenstein cut off his head with a pane of glass to preserve it. During the New 52 reboot in 2011, she turned out to be a chosen member of the Creature Commandos as opposed to just voluntarily joining them. And it was found out that her and Frankenstein's son was actually still alive despite being shot by Frankenstein in 1959. Basically, the New 52 reboot retold the story of what happened with Frankenstein and Lady Frankenstein's son. Basically, he escaped the zoo, got a psychic to teleport him to Castle Frankenstein, where his mother ended up shooting him. And during Rebirth, she is seen with Frankenstein tracking down Krug. They get into an argument, and Superman breaks them up and has them work together so that they can find him, because he's a psychopathic murderer, of course. And once they do that, she realizes she doesn't want to be with Frankenstein anymore, even though he presents her with a ring and is trying to get back on good terms with her and be married to her. But she doesn't want that. She also ends up showing up in Flashpoint. Due to the nature of her creation, she has superhuman strength. She's also a master at different kinds of weaponry, as well as being a skilled hand-to-hand combatant. She's also technically a zombie, so she is self-sustained. And that is Lady Frankenstein.